Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sue Acton, and I am the Vice President of Voter Services for the Grosse Pointe League of Women Voters. This forum is for the general election on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Welcome, candidates. Welcome, fellow citizens, to the League of Women Voters of Grosse Pointe's Candidate Forum for the Harper Woods City Council. Thank you to Wayne County Community College's district's Mary Ellen Stempfle University Center and to Ms. Kimmett Hackworth for the use of this space to host the forum. The League will present this recording for viewing within a day or two on the League's YouTube channel. We now ask that you please turn off or silence your cell phones and any devices. Individual recording of this program is not permitted. Our League has gathered questions from the community through our website over the last few weeks, and those questions have been sorted for relevancy, redundancy, and to remove slanderous content. This format will not allow us to submit all your questions to the candidates. We encourage citizens to follow up with individual candidates with any remaining questions or concerns. The League is providing this forum as an opportunity for candidates to express their views related to their candidacy. Statements expressed by the candidates are not endorsed by the League. The League does not certify any candidate responses to questions as accurate. Voters are encouraged to fact-check information shared by our candidates. Before I introduce our moderator for the forum tonight, I would like to remind the community that the Grosse Pointe League of Women Voters is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are part of a national organization whose mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. We offer candidate forums and other voter education programs as a service to the community. The League neither endorses nor opposes candidates or political parties. We welcome all, men and women, 16 and older, to membership. Please visit our website at lwvgrossepointe.org if you are inclined to support our mission of empowering voters and defending democracy. At this time, I would like to introduce Joan Richardson. Joan is an active member of the Grosse Pointe League, and she will serve as our moderator this evening. Joan?
Good evening. And welcome to this event. I'm happy to see you all here. Before I introduce the candidates, there are some people in the League that I need to thank for their assistance with this forum. I'd like to introduce League members who will be serving as question sorters, timekeepers, and volunteers. Our timekeeper tonight is Judy Masserang. The questions were selected in advance by a small committee including Judy Florian, Mary Beth Kane, and Mary Zeiler. Our greeters and hospitality volunteers tonight are Carol Bendur, Susan Boudris, Holly Corey, Mary Beth Kane, Jerry LaPratt, and Jane Rousseau. The format for this forum has been established by the League of Women Voters of Grosse Pointe. The format was received by each candidate prior to the forum. We have 4 candidates for City Council tonight for 3 open seats. Each seat represents a 4-year term. In alphabetical order, the candidates for the council are Theresa Foster, Sheila Hakim, Vivian M. Sawicki, and Ivory Toussant, Jr. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make an opening statement not to exceed 2 minutes. The order was determined by drawing lots just before this meeting. The timekeeper will hold up a card for 30 seconds and a card indicating stop when the time has expired. Following their opening statements, the candidates will be answering in alternating order written questions from the community. As moderator, I reserve the right to close discussion on any question. At the end of the question period, each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 2-minute closing statement in reverse order of the opening statements. An important part of our format is that there are to be no questions or comments from the floor during this forum. All questions are to be asked only by me and only from the written questions. Also, I am asking that the audience refrain from applauding or otherwise audibly reacting until the end of the forum. We will begin with the candidates' opening statements of 2 minutes each. Each candidate knows which order they're going in, and we will start with Mr. Toussant.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me well? Okay. My name is Ivory Toussant, Jr. I ran for City Council in 2017 because I care deeply about Harper Woods and believe residents deserve a stronger voice in the decisions that shape our city. From the start, I've worked to improve communication, listen closely to concerns, and make city government more open, responsive, and efficient. We've come a long way, but there's still more ahead. I'll keep using my knowledge and experience to work to make Harper Woods the best it can be. With your support, I'm ready to do even more for Harper Woods. Since I have been aboard, let's see here. As far as my background is concerned, a little bit, I'm very active in the Michigan Municipal League, which is an organization that actually helps to make us all better city council people with seminars and things like that. I've received their level 3 certification of the Elected Officials Academy. I have just one more level to go, and when I'm elected, I will make sure I get that level 4. I'm a former planning commissioner for the Harper Woods Planning Commission, executive board for Grosse Pointe Harper Woods NAACP, SIMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Government. I'm a Harper Woods alternative and recently voted in as vice chair for the City, Township, and Villages Committee. I'm on the Recreation Committee and was on the Cannabis Committee. I'm president and treasurer of the Danbury Lane Homeowners Association, former vice president of Life Skills Academy of Metropolitan Detroit, was a high school charter school. I have a bachelor's degree in math, English, master's degree in economics from the University of Detroit, and education specialist from Wayne State University. I'm also endorsed by the Grosse Pointe Democratic League. I work every day to keep you informed, make sure your voice is heard, and tackle the issues. Since I've been in office, more improvements have happened in this city that I have rather recommended, voted for, or supported.
Mr. Toussant, thank you.
Okay, I didn't see about 30 minutes.
That's
Great.
all right.
Thank you.
We're ready for Ms. Foster.
Hello. Good evening, and thank you for the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. I've lived in Harper Woods for the past 30 years. First of all, I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother. I'm running for Harper Woods City Council because I believe that Harper Woods is full of potential. Together we can build a city that is safe and every resident has a voice. Leadership is about service, and I am ready to serve. I'm ready to lead with integrity, transparency. My vision is a simple one: a stronger, safer, and more connected Harper Woods. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sawicki.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for all the work you do to keep us informed about candidates and issues. Thank you to Wayne County Community College for working with us on so many events and programs. We appreciate everything they've done. In today's political climate, it's vitally important to keep our community strong and safe and a good place to raise our families. The fact that you are here at this forum or viewing it later, you should be commended because you care about Harper Woods, and so do I. As I've made my way around the city canvassing in our neighborhoods, I've had a chance to hear some of the concerns of residents. I'm sure I'll be able to respond to some of those concerns tonight. But let me assure you that every one of us up here cares about the success of Harper Woods. As a council member, even as mayor, we do not work alone, but we do have priorities that we bring to the table, and here are a few of mine. First, I'd like to see our taxes reduced. Over the past few years, the council and administration has worked hard to bring in new development that will help to relieve the tax burden on residents. I want to see more development that improves our business district and the climate. more robust enforcement of ordinances and laws. That means putting more public safety officers on the street and doing more to target offenders. Third, more direct communication with residents about things going on in the city in a more timely way. We have Nixle, but that's not enough. Finally, if you've attended or watched council meetings, you know I'm someone who is not afraid to ask questions. I'm not timid about standing up for our residents, and I pledge to work to understand the issues and do the very best job I can for our community. So I ask you to vote for me, Vivian Sawicki. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hakim?
Good evening, everybody. My name's Sheila. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum and everybody for taking the time to be here. I was raised in Detroit, graduated from St. Ladislaus High School, worked as a waitress in Big Boys while I was in high school so I could pay for my first car, a 69 VW Beetle. Important stuff. After graduation, I worked at different office jobs until I settled on an occupation I loved. I purchased a home in Harper Woods over 20 years ago where I resided with my husband of 32 years until his death last year. He was on the Planning Commission and helped me keep informed about the city while I was working long hours. Both of us loved dogs. During our marriage, we had a number of them, most of which were adopted from rescues. I have over 30 years' experience in various legal fields. In 2020, I retired from Hakim, LLP, after working for the head of the antitrust department for 22 years. My job had a lot of responsibility, was very demanding, and one which did not leave a lot of room for a personal life. Prior to that, I worked for Bell and Gardner, for Judge Edward Bell and Judge Samuel Gardner, where the firm handled more diverse cases. I learned how to do research, ask the right questions, pay attention to detail, and document everything. This has served me well over the years and provided me with a background which would be useful on City Council if I am elected. During retirement, I have focused on family, friends, and community. I've made a point to do volunteer work, such as regular deliveries for Meals on Wheels. In 2021, I volunteered at the Harper Woods COVID vaccination clinic. And in the early years of
Thank
COVID...
you, Ms. Hakim. Okay. We appreciate those very good opening statements. So we're going to start with our first question, and we're going to start on a high note. What do you most respect about the current City Council? And Ms. Hakim, you'll get the first response.
The diversity. They are diverse in a lot of ways, in their opinions, in their expressions. I've known a lot of them on a personal level. I don't always agree with them, but that's what happens when you have people together in the same room. You know, a committee does the same thing, they don't agree. City Council shouldn't always agree. I would appreciate it if they'd be a little bit more, talking a little bit more in open session about their opinions. Sometimes they come to the table and they seem like they're already decided on it, and that's a little discerning. But do I respect them? Yes. And that's my answer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Toussant?
What I like about our city council, for one thing, is our leadership from our mayor. She is definitely a go-getter and is constantly looking for new ideas and projects and grants and things to really take our city to the next level. I think her leadership is extremely important, and she just works hard, and she gets no answers. She just keeps moving on. I also like the fact that we have certain city council people that love, that really get into the detail and have encouraged me to really read my notes before I come to the meetings. And so I think with that, it kind of helps to build a little better continuity between us. And then that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
It's difficult because there's a few things. I think the most important one is when they're not behind the desk at the council meeting, they're at these events, that they actually go out and talk to the residents and interact. Because it can't always be business. Sometimes you just have to engage with them and talk to them. Sure, they're probably going to ask you a bunch of questions, but a lot of times they can actually have a good time with the residents. And I appreciate that part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sawicki?
Thank you for this question. It's kind of refreshing to hear the good things. I appreciate being on council. I appreciate the people that I'm working with on council because we do all bring our individual ideas to the table. The way it operates basically is on Friday, we get our agenda, and then over the weekend, we have a chance to review it, and that's the same agenda that's put online for all of our residents to read as well. And so when we come to the table, there is no opportunity to talk in advance. It's illegal for more than four of us to get together, four or more of us to get together to talk about something. And so we come with our own research, our own background information, and I appreciate the fact that many of us are so interested in keeping the details, checking it out, going above and beyond, talking to people in the community in order to formulate our ideas.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the second question. Certain controversies in Harper Woods, both currently and several years ago, have led some council members and members of the public to complain about a lack of unity in the city government and in the community. What is your response to these concerns? And we're going to begin with Ms. Sawicki.
When I was canvassing in our neighborhood, one gentleman asked me whose side I was on. And I want to mention that I'm not on anyone's side. I'm on the side of Harper Woods. I want to do the very best thing that's possible for our community. And I think some of his concern came from things that have happened at council meetings where one person might react negatively to a decision that was made. I think that's to be expected. And if you have a council that's very active and very interested and very involved in the community, then we're not all going to think the same, and we shouldn't. And I think it's really wonderful that we have a diversity of opinion and a diversity of background that we can bring to discussion. Some of our discussions are lively, and that's important, and some of them just seem like they're very rote because there's not a lot we can do about some of the things that come in front of us. And so if you watch our council meetings, they're all available on YouTube.
Thank you, Ms. Sawicki.
Sure.
Ms. Hakim? Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Certain controversies in Harper Woods, both currently and several years ago, have led some council members and members of the public to complain about a lack of unity in the city government and in the community. What is your response to these concerns?
Well, if everybody was unified, I'd be concerned. I mean, people do have various opinions, and those are valuable. Differences of opinions happen. It's just part of life. And collectively, with differences of opinion and different perspectives, you can grow the community. If you're all on the same page, you don't get very far. That's why committees are formed. That's why other things happen. Everybody doesn't start off and end up at the same place. And that's my answer. I got the yellow light.
Thank you. Mr. Toussant?
Being probably, no, I guess I'm not the newest member on the council, Mrs. LaPratt is. But I've heard more about certain controversial issues. I'm not really sure which ones we're even targeting on. But it does give me an opportunity to research those a little bit. One time I had a resident that was saying, well, I was supposed to fix my roof, and why haven't that been fixed? I was like, I'm not familiar with that program. So I did investigate with our economic development and our city manager and found out the reason why is because the responsibility had been moved to Wayne County back. They took it back. So when I find out things like that, a controversy, it gives me an opportunity to investigate further to see what it is and what possible solutions we can further see.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
Well, from what I've heard, the most important thing that the residents are worried about is transparency. They don't know how we're paying for things. They don't understand the procedures that they're going through. We have to be more, because of the financial challenges and the reasons behind some of the savings, we have to involve the community a little bit more and engage the residents in the budget process and through surveys and forums so they understand and get the information out to them so they know where the money's coming from or why we have to make certain cuts or why certain projects stop. They don't get all the information that they're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the third question. What specific actions would you take to ensure that Harperwood's leadership at all levels reflects the community's demographics? And Ms. Foster, we'll start with you.
Can you say that question one more time, please?
What specific actions would you take to ensure that Harperwood's leadership at all levels reflects the community's demographics?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I would have more sessions that we could talk to the residents and try to understand where they're coming from. I don't know. I don't. That's my answer.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Sawicki?
Well, if I understand the question correctly, I think we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and all three of those are very important, in my opinion. It's something we don't need to fear in Harper Woods. I think that part of that comes up from the fact that if you foster an environment where people of diverse backgrounds can come together, then you're going to get a reflection of your community. And I think that our community is a pretty strong one. I know we've had a lot of, I think probably the thing I'm most concerned about is having a lot of people who are renters, people who aren't committed to the community. And so drawing people in to be part of activities, drawing people in to be part of events, encouraging people to get involved in the community, whether they're renters, whether they're leasers, whether they're owners, that's what's going to get us to be diverse, to reflect the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hakim?
Well, it would be nice to have various people from different areas of Harper Woods. Harper Woods is small, but different areas have different challenges. I mean, the area by Kelly Road, they're close to Detroit. They've had problems over the years for one thing or another. And people in other areas have other concerns. Some with the Harper Woods District schools, some with the Grosse Pointe schools. So it's broad. And so if you had representatives from various areas speaking on behalf of these people, it would be helpful.
Thank you. Mr. Toussant?
Harper Woods is a diverse community. When I first, initially, when they were doing, I took a job working the census. Right after I retired, it came up. And I decided to, so I was going around from house to house and apartments to apartments, and I was very impressed with just how diverse the community was and how well everybody lives together and functions together quite well. To improve that situation, I have to agree with Councilwoman Sawicki there that we have activities and we'd like people to come to them. And by going to those activities, we again help to blend our community a lot together and have us thinking on the same wavelength in many cases. So that's kind of my thoughts on that as far as diversity.
Thank you. Here's the next question. The city has proposed building a new community center. Do you support this new center? If yes, why? If not, why not? And if you do support it, what services should it provide and what funding sources would make your vision for this possible? Mr. Toussant, will you begin, please?
That subject has come up as far as the community center is concerned. We also have the Pocket Park.
Please speak right into the microphone.
Okay, both of those have come up quite a bit about the community center. We've also have a pocket park. Both of those projects are grant funded and awaiting last minute information to move forward. Both grant projects will be reported to City Council by October 20th, 2025, and both grant projects are fully funded. No additional monies from the general fund will be needed to furnish either project. These grant fund monies cannot be used to fund firefighters. So let's moving forward with that, and more information will be given to the public very soon. Many want us to start with a smaller one, more of a modular, and expand. And depending upon where we're in, and now that we're becoming recovery ready, and getting very close to that, that's going to give us an opportunity to have more grants and things to help fulfill a lot of our dreams.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
I'm on the fence about it. I think that if we find out where the money's coming from, the community would be a little bit easier. They would embrace it a little bit more. Right now, no one knows where it's coming from, so there's a lot of uproar with it. And the residents are afraid that their taxes are going to be raised, or they're going to be paying for this out of their pocket. The residents don't know where the money's coming from. They don't know. They know that we have one grant, but they also know we don't have the money for the community center. I think that if we do have it, it's going to be a great thing because of all the things they have in there for the seniors. They have walking. It'll be great. They have the gym for the kids. But on the other hand, I don't know if it's really a good idea because the city.
Thank you. Ms. Sawicki?
Wouldn't it be nice to have a year-round place where we could go to enjoy events that could be used as a warming center or a cooling center if the power goes out? The Helm has even expressed some interest in setting up a satellite senior center if we should have a community center. So it's a great idea, and I know our mayor has worked tirelessly to bring it to pass. Right now, the money doesn't seem to be there for the vision that we have for that, and not for lack of trying. She has been all over tapping everyone, but the feds aren't giving money away, and certainly not in Michigan. So to secure grants that we already have received to help pay for the design and some preliminary studies that the city had done, they needed to do a groundbreaking, and some of you may have heard that there was a groundbreaking. That was to secure the grant money that we already received. The mayor has mentioned, and I fully agree, that this community center should not be built on the backs of our residents.
Thank you. Ms. Hakim?
Hi, I support the community center, but I believe it should be fully funded first. I also think that they need to look, it started off as a $2.5 million community center, then it morphed into an $8.5 million community center. That was the figure on the agreement that was signed. Then there was some flexibility, but everything's up in the air. You sign an agreement for 8.5, but it started off at 2.5. We all know projects do not finish at an estimated cost. It's going to be over 8.5. So as long as it's fully funded and operational costs are considered, that's fine. Those are the concerns.
Thank you. Next question. Many residents are concerned that the city fails to enforce local ordinances. Do you agree or disagree with this concern, and what would you do to change the situation? Ms. Hakim, would you please begin?
I agree that they haven't been enforcing the ordinances. And there might be more to the story, but in particular across the street from me is a house with 2 trees on the street, on the city's property, that bumped up all the sidewalks, made it totally hazardous, and it's been there for years, and it hasn't been dealt with. The owners says they don't want to deal with it because it's the city's problem. The city hasn't dealt with it. Now, if they can't deal with that, how can they deal with the community center? So that is also a concern of mine. I mean, this is smaller in scope. So ordinances have not been enforced, and we don't always know why.
Thank you. Mr. Toussant?
I have heard that on occasion, that we don't ordinarily support we don't support our ordinances like we should have, like we should. There's improvements that are being made in many areas with our safe built. They go around quite a bit and try to do quite a few things. Sometimes if you're having problems, for example, with parking on your street, well, if you call the police while the person's being violated, then maybe that's when they'll go, instead of saying, well, that car's been parked there all this time. Well, it's legal right now where it's parked. So we are making stance, trying our best to enforce them even more, because I know how important that is to everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
When I moved into Harper Woods, we couldn't have signs on our trucks that were on the street. I couldn't have a ladder that was in my backyard. I had to build a privacy fence. And now we have company trucks in the driveways. We have food trucks in the driveways. I don't think they're doing the ordinances. I see them starting to. I do see with the grass cutting, and I do see with different tags on different houses. I do see that they're starting to, and I do see a police presence. So I know they're continuing to do it, but we need an ordinance officer like we used to have. He used to drive up and down the streets and hand out tickets, and that has stopped. And I think that should be done again. It was a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sawicki?
I often hear people saying that we need to have an ordinance meeting. We need to pass more ordinances. And we can pass ordinances until we're blue. But that's not going to solve any problems, because it's the enforcement that needs to be solved. I have to agree with Ms. Foster that we need an ordinance officer. We need an ordinance person who's dedicated to upholding some of the ordinances that we already have in place. And if we were able to do that, I think that people would see more dramatic change. That ordinance officer might also be able to be an animal control officer. And that way we could, kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. That's kind of a bad choice of words. But we need, Safe Built exists in our community to help assure that the building process is going accurately, that things that, buildings are not falling down. They check all of that stuff. But they're not the people that go out and check the height of grass.
Thank you.
We need an ordinance officer.
The next question is sort of related to the previous question, but a little more specific. Some residents have commented on the deterioration of properties in the city. Some have mentioned rental houses, others mentioned the infrastructure concerns about broken and uneven sidewalks, walkways encroached upon by trees or shrubs. What would you do to make Harper Woods neighborhoods more appealing and more safe? Ms. Sawicki, would you begin, please?
Well, one thing I know is that I think our DPW, our police department, our different departments should be reporting to the community what they're doing, because I know that we hear sometimes from time to time, X number of tickets have gone out, X number, and it's not just the ticketing, it's making certain that the courts are supporting what's going on. Because we don't want to ticket people, have them abuse their right, and then show up in court and have just a slap on the hand. We need some mutual support between the courts and the city, and I think that would go a great deal toward ensuring that our residents know things are happening, and so I really believe that we need to increase the communication with residents so they know what the rules are, so they're following the rules, and so that the support is there when they don't.
Thank you. Mrs. Hakim? Sorry, got the question again. Some residents have commented on the deterioration of properties in the city. Some have mentioned rental houses, others have mentioned the infrastructure concerns about broken and uneven sidewalks or walkways encroached upon by trees or shrubs. What would you do to make Harper Woods neighborhoods more appealing and more safe?
The information I have as far as what is available to the city is minimal. And so I don't really have all the information I need to answer that question. You obviously need an enforcement or ordinance guy to go around and tag the house, but I've also reported property for failing to comply with the ordinances, and I don't hear anything back. They don't answer. They just said there's an active case on it, and that's it. And maybe that's where the problem is, because there is no answer, and you get upset because you feel like you're unheard. So based upon the information I have no answer. That's what I'm trying to say. If they have grants, use the grants. If they don't have grants, then your options are limited if they don't have the funds. And if it's city property, sometimes it can be split between
Thank
city
you.
property and
Mr. Toussant?
Well, one thing you mentioned was the sidewalks. We do have a sidewalk program in place right now to replace many of the sidewalks. It's going to be already started this year, and we'll go until it's too cold to do it again, and continue in the spring. So that is being addressed. I forgot the rest of the question.
Apparently, these questions are too long.
So right. So we are doing a lot of things to already improve in the city. We've got Eastland turned into something else now. We've gotten some streets redone. Took for a while for Beaconsfield, but it's completely redone. The school is doing some improvement building there. North Point with Eastland, we got retention pools and stuff. So I do see some improvements going on quite a bit, and there will be some things done on Kelly Road.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
I do agree with Mr. Toussant. The city is doing the work for the sidewalks and the streets, but we have to get a hold of the landlords. We have to start finding them or start closing on their properties if they're not going to keep having their tenants keep the buildings up, or have it in their agreements that they're going to take care of it and make them pay for the landscaping and the upkeep of their property. I think Harper Woods is doing a great job with repairing the city streets and sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. In your view, were resident voices sufficiently acknowledged in the decision to grant retail cannabis licenses in areas where residents were adamantly opposed? And what would you do about future requests for such licenses? Ms. Foster, would you begin, please?
That's a tough subject because the residents were not happy about it because it was in their backyards. And I wouldn't have been happy either because I wouldn't want that kind of traffic near me. And I don't think that we need any more cannabis buildings in the city of Harper Woods. I think the 3 or the 2 that we have now is plenty. I know one's open and the other one is not yet, but the residents were not happy at all. Thank you.
Ms. Sawicki?
Would you mind repeating that question? I'm sorry.
That's all right. In your view, were resident voices sufficiently acknowledged in the decision to grant retail cannabis licenses in areas where residents were adamantly against it? And what would you do about future requests for such licenses?
All right. As far as future requests for such licenses, there is very little opportunity to put in any additional cannabis facilities in Harper Woods because we have required a certain distance from one facility to the other. So, without that idea. Residents have been invited to comment throughout the process. And we had a group of residents on Country Club that were very much opposed to the cannabis facility that would have gone in on their street. And they made their voices heard. They made their voices heard at council meetings a number of times, at planning commission meetings, And the cannabis facility that was permitted to go into that space heard them as well. And as a result, they are not building in that area because our residents did not want them there, and they listened. And I believe that the process is there for our residents to speak up about something that they don't appreciate.
Thank you. Ms. Hakim?
I don't think the city listened to the residents that were opposed to this, and that's what was confusing. There was one section that was adamantly opposed to it being there, and the city didn't want to listen. They still granted the license and did not consider the thought. And it's not that it was just a few. It was a lot of people. And it seems like the law gave them a lot of latitude to make some changes, and they opted to proceed with it anyway. It's right. They did not, the company chose not to open a store, and so no, it didn't go in. It's just disappointing to me that the city didn't take that into consideration before they issued the license.
Thank you. Mr. Toussant?
That can always be a very kind of touchy subject about where to place certain retail things. I was at the movie today at in Royal Oak, and I remember the Royal Oak Theater was there, and right next to it was a high-rise building, and people bought, had perfect views. Now all of a sudden, where they are and where it's zoned, the movie is gone, and now another high-rise is there. It kind of messed up the view of some other people. Well, another thing that's going on in Grosse Pointe right now, where they want to do some zoning, because where it was before was a doctor's office, and now another person wants to come there with commercial stuff. So, it's kind of tough on those things where the zoning is there, and then you take a chance on where you move, and then you find out this really don't want those in your area. Well, fortunately, the residents got what they wanted there, and I don't think there'll be any more cannabis places in the city.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How well do you think Harper Woods is meeting the needs of senior citizens, and what more could be done? Mr. Toussant, would you begin, please?
With our senior citizens, for one thing I do on my own is I work with the Helm a little bit and Trader Joe's, and have sort of when I pick up some of their close to expired food, I give some of it to the mayor for her pantry, and then I also take some home and I distribute to many needy people in the community. I think we need to get more people closer to the Helm because they provide some good services, and also with the transportation system we have here, PAPS. I'd like to get on the board of that to kind of make sure we can still offer those services and continue to offer those services to our senior citizens.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
I think we should get, I know that the city, we pass a bill for the city for our taxes for the Helm. I think it should be a little bit bigger. Maybe we should have a satellite division here in Harper Woods in one of the vacant buildings, even if we don't get the community center up right away. So our seniors have some place to go, and that's not too far from their home. I think that we do a lot for the seniors. And I hope that the Helm they should get more information on all the different things that the Helm offers. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sawicki?
As was mentioned, Harper Woods did pass a millage, a senior millage, and bravo to us for doing that. The Helm provides great services to seniors in our area. And beginning in January, because Harper Woods passed the millage, all of the residents over 60 years old in our community will have free membership to the Helm. And that'll save us $60 a year per person. That's pretty significant. In addition, as Mr. Toussant mentioned, PATS, the bus service, is available to take people down to the Helm and around the community as well. Volunteers are needed. And I really want to encourage people to consider volunteering. I started when I was a young wife and mother, getting involved in Girl Scouts and all of this good stuff. And I hear young people often saying to me they don't have time. But the thing is, if you really relish your community, if you really want things to be good in your community, you find the time.
Thank you. Ms. Hakim?
Hi, I think that we provide good services for the senior residents. I personally deliver meals regularly through Meals on Wheels to residents in the Harper Woods area and surrounding areas, as well as Detroit. Rain, shine, snow, sub-zero, we're there. And they do have the helm that they can go to, as everybody else here's mentioned, because we passed the millage, and so they have access to those facilities. And right now, that's a good choice.
Thank you. Next question. What are your thoughts about the relationship between Harper Woods and the Grosse Pointe Animal Adoption Society? And do you have any suggestions, solutions about adapting, changing that relationship? Ms. Hakim?
I think the Grosse Pointe Animal Adoption Society served Harper Woods very well and the surrounding areas. I wasn't at the meeting when they did not renew the contract with GPAS. Then I was reading recently in the Insider that we did renew the contract, only to find out that no, we didn't renew the contract, so this must have gone into publication before the contract was not renewed. In any event, I think that's in our best interest to renew the contract.
Mr. Toussant?
Yeah, that animal control is a sore thing of mine. Was very sore about it. I mean, they're in our community, and all of a sudden we get hit with the biggest price tag out of all the 4 communities. And they say because they do more work for us than they do for any other community, whatever. I'm still having an issue with the price tag that's on it, but I'm getting adjusted to it. And I'm just curious I'm not sure exactly where we are with that at this point, as far as with the helm. They haven't really come back to us with too much of, not the helm, but the animal control. They haven't come back to us too much lately, so we'll see where it goes in the next couple of months, and we'll definitely will let the city, the residents know where we stand.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
GPAS is a great organization. I think that I don't know if we're going to keep them much longer. I don't know what the contract's going to say, but I know it's from month to month right now. And they do come out and get the dogs, and they do a great job. If you go inside of the building, it's nice and clean. All the animals are well taken care of. And I think that we do need volunteers to help them a little bit, just to walk the dogs maybe, or go in there and help them feed them or clean them. I think it's a good idea to have animal control in Harper Woods just because of the dogs running around. Thank you.
Ms. Sawicki?
Yes, GPAS offers a good service. It's valuable, taking in lost and abandoned animals. However, as Mr. Toussant has mentioned, the funding mechanism for GPAS is not correct. It's in error, and we have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. The costs are very unbalanced, and because GPAS exists in Harper Woods, often animals that are dropped off at GPAS are credited to Harper Woods, and so we're paying on top of the extraordinary amount that they're charging us just for the maintenance of the facility, which is not shared equally among all of the communities that use that facility. They are also charging us additional amounts for animals that cannot be attributed to our community. That's a problem for me, and I hope that we can get this solved as our contract comes around again. The contract that currently exists is a month-to-month situation, and we end up paying what we would have paid otherwise.
Thank you. Next question. How do you believe the city of Harper Woods is perceived by the surrounding communities? And how would you attract retail stores and restaurants to improve the quality of life for Harper Woods residents? Ms. Sawicki?
Well, I think that Harper Woods is getting a much better people have a good attitude about Harper Woods. They're seeing some real growth taking place here. We have Fraser Square going up, and that's really made a positive impact in the Grosse Pointe and our surrounding neighborhoods. I think that people have a respect for Harper Woods that some of our residents might even be surprised about. But that being said, I think that we need to do more to improve our business climate. I think that Kelly Road needs to improve. I think that we need to fill some of these empty storefronts. And I think that we need to be more active in pursuing businesses to successfully come into our community. So I think I've answered the question.
Thank you. Ms. Hakim?
There's a limited number of places that you can put businesses. Right now, it's like Kelly Road, that's fairly wide open. They've basically used up all the Eastland space. Where Wayne County Community College here that's available. But the ideal situation would be to rezone the area here in this immediate area where the houses are and stuff. When people move out, maybe you want to rezone it and create maybe a downtown or some type of area that would attract outside businesses and help Harper Woods get another identity.
Thank you. Mr. Toussant?
I think Harper Woods is getting more and more respect from the adjoining communities. For example, I think we are very closely knit with the other Grosse Pointes. Probably because many of us on City Council attend many of the functions that they have and attend ours, and also because we share our school system with the Grosse Pointes. We see the mayors all the time, and I see them a lot of functions, so that part is going quite well. That's another thing about we're trying to get our city what they call Redevelopment Ready, RRC program, by the Michigan Economic Development Foundation, which is how it works. They can provide voluntary technical assistance and certification initiative by MEDC aimed at helping Michigan communities become more development ready for adopting best practices in planning, zoning, review, and economic development. Once we've gotten that one rolled together there, which we're pretty close, about almost 80%, that will give us some more involvement with getting more businesses, makes us more attractive to other businesses wanting to come.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
I think Harper Woods and the surrounding communities get along quite well. To bring in more businesses, we have the Kelly Road project, the Kelly Road corridor, to make green space and extra parking and to revitalize that. And I think our community development department should get the business owners or the landlords together so we find out what they need to help improve their businesses and to start getting that project underway. And that way we can help them get grants. That way we know what the businesses need and what direction they can go in and help them fill out these forms, because a lot of times it's a lot of red tape and not everyone wants to do that kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you. If elected, what 3 steps would you take to keep Harper Woods on a firm financial footing while addressing citizens' concerns about high taxes? Ms. Foster?
All right. The high taxes, we have to put a cap on that somehow. And the only way we're going to do that is simple cost cutting, like personal costs to implement hiring freezes, technology to go digital with citizen services like bill paying, but I do understand some people don't have the ability or the resources to pay online. We need to streamline internal processes, implement shared services like with other local governments. We can share their IT and public works and emergency dispatch and animal control. Thank you.
Ms. Sawicki?
Well, one of the things that I believe our community needs to do is to bring our taxes down, and I think that speaks to the question. So how do we do that? Over the past several years, our city has built really put in effort into increasing our tax base. And we do that through Fraser Square, where 72 new homes are going in. All of those homes are going to be providing taxes to the city. We do that through Eastland Commerce Center, because that facility is nearly full now and operating, and so they are paying taxes to the community. And these types of buildings are what's going to spread the pain of taxes for our residents. But taxes do a lot of good for our community. I don't think I need to go into all the things that we pay for with our taxes, because most of us are pretty aware. But I think that we have increased our base already. Our city manager has done a lot to bring additional monies in, and we will be seeing changes that'll bring our
Thank you.
taxes down.
Ms. Hakim?
Well, we can either reduce costs or increase revenue. We can explore ways of reducing or eliminating reliance on the Milk River drain. It's a perpetual expense which will go on forever and not serve us well if we don't find alternatives. We have to decrease the Harper Woods millage rate so that real estate values will increase and stabilize. This will benefit not only the residents but the city as well. And perhaps reinvent the city's image, which would give us an identity. Blues in the Woods has been well received. Why stop there? If we can attract more blues and jazz artists on a more permanent basis, that would help redefine Harper Woods as a city and give us something to work from.
Thank you. Mr. Toussant?
Right now in Harper Woods, our budget is better than it has been in years, with our fund balance increasing from $73,000 to $4.4 million since around 2016 in the general fund, and no deficits in the alternate funds. I will continue to look for grants to pay for city improvements and start off using the general fund. Also, that has caused, I think we had something like 19 or 20 mills, mostly dedicated police and fire, whatever, and because of some of the things we've done here, we've dropped that down at least 2 mills, so residents should see some relief in taxes. But I understand, especially newcomers who come in and buy homes, their taxes shoot up once they find out that they're not grandfathered in, and it's pretty bad.
Thank you. We're ready now for our final question before you move to closing statements. So here it is. What is the most significant change that you want to make in Harper Woods, and what is your plan for achieving that change if you are elected? Mr. Toussant, would you begin, please?
I mentioned some of the changes that I wanted to already see dealing with our recovery development and dealing with being on PAPs and things we've done for the seniors. Of course, there's always improvements, and the things I'd really like to focus on really again too is maybe enforcing more city ordinances down the line. And one thing is try to get more people to come to the events that we plan for our residents here to build a bond there. That's about all. I'll keep mine short.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Foster?
I think we just have to start talking more to our citizens so they realize what's going on. All these events we have, the citizens, a lot of them don't know until the last minute, and then they have to change their plans. There's got to be a way that we can inform them of everything that's going on all of the time. Flyers, on the billboard in front of the City Hall. There's a billboard on 8 Mile and 94. I know that one we rent, but we can do things like that so the citizens know something that all of the time that's going on, so that we can fill these places up with people and engage with them and talk to them and see how they're feeling about Harper Woods. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sawicki?
Well, I've already talked about the fact that I believe taxes need to be reduced, and I think we're all on that same page. More robust enforcement of ordinances and that sort of thing. But the idea of more direct communication with our residents is something I think that we could do pretty quickly. And I've talked to some of the administration about the idea of being able to text our residents directly or to send out emails to residents that are interested in getting information. If you check out East Point, they have an interesting method of getting in touch with their residents. Residents can sign up to get different kinds of information. And I think that that's a nice solution to have people interested, get information about the music programs, about the free movies that people didn't know about. That's the kind of thing that doesn't necessarily go out on Nixle, because Nixle is a platform for emergencies.
Thank you. Ms. Hakim?
I think communication is the most important issue that I would address. Efforts are being made at communicating, but obviously they're not effective enough. In terms of the community center, a majority of the people in my area have no idea about it. And some that did thought it was the 2.5. They didn't know it had morphed into something a little bit bigger. And that's concerning. When you make decisions in that scope, you should make sure people are aware of it. And because it might hit them at the end. They might be the ones paying the consequences if things do not work out well. Whenever you put the general fund at risk, you have to consider the consequences and make sure people are informed. So that would be the biggest thing.
Thank you. So we've heard your responses to 12 questions submitted from the community, and we're going to end this now with candidates' closing statements. You each have the opportunity to speak for 2 minutes, and we're going to begin with Ms. Hakim.
Again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for keeping the voters informed. Thank you to everybody in attendance tonight and those watching at home later for taking the time to know a little bit more about me and the other candidates. I strongly believe that the people elected to the City Council should make sure that the residents are well informed and that their views are taken into account. This is especially true about decisions which have long-term financial consequences. I am honest, motivated, and hardworking. I would like to use these qualities for the residents of Harper Woods. Hopefully you will leave here with a better idea of who I am as a person and candidate and give me that chance. Every once in a while, change prompts communities to reinvent themselves. I see this as Harper Woods' chance to reinvent itself. Other communities have done so very successfully. Harper Woods can also do that. We don't need perfection to accomplish this. We need a vision. The city has overcome a lot of obstacles to get to where we are at this moment in time. The future is yet to be determined. The city is at a pivotal point, and the direction it takes will be important. Your vote could help determine that direction.
Thank you. Ms. Sawicki?
Yes, thank you once again to the League, to Wayne County Community College, and to all of you who are interested in Harper Woods. I'm asking for your vote because I believe that I can do a lot of good for the community. I've been honored to be a member of the City Council, and I look forward to helping residents as much as possible in the future. I'm encouraging every resident to get involved in the community. If you can't make it to council meetings, watch our council meetings on YouTube. They are all available. If you read the agenda on the Fridays before the meeting, get in touch with me. Let me know how you feel about something. I am very open to getting emails from residents. I respond to them. And I encourage you to take a step in getting involved in the community. If you want to be a member of a board or commission, there are available spaces for people to get involved. You can contact our community in any number of ways, and so I encourage you to do that. And I ask for your vote on November 4th. My name is Vivian Sawicki. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
Again, thank you to the League of Women Voters and to everyone that is here tonight. My campaign is built on you. We need to move this city forward. Harper Woods is more than just a city, it's our home. and this is where we live. We need to take care of it. We need to know everything that's going on. I believe the best days are still ahead of us. This campaign is not about me, it's about us. And with your trust and support, I know we can achieve this goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Toussant.
Since I've been in office, more improvements have happened in this city that I have either voted for, recommended, or supported, such as deteriorating Eastland Shopping Center replaced by Eastland Commerce Center, which is going to bring additional jobs and revenue to Harper Woods. Beaconsfield Road and Danbury Lane were repaved and new sewer systems. City parks all updated. Groundbreaking for a new pocket park and recreation center. City Hall infrastructure improvements, sound systems, remodeling offices, generators, windows, and police vehicle updates. If I'm voted for, when I win, let's say that, I will continue to be just as involved as I am now in the city government and in the community. I will continue to support budgets and maintain city services without extending our finances, question new proposals to ensure they are necessary, affordable, and sustainable, continue to find ways to reduce tax burdens on our residents without compromising public safety or infrastructure, continue investigating methods to slow down drivers, and continue having thousands of conversations on social media, by email, and by phone to answer questions and share updates with residents. Thank you very much, and thank Wayne County and all of you for actually voting for me the first time and having confidence to vote for me again the second time.
Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause? That was... It is not easy to sit up there in the public eye and answer those questions, so my hat is off to you for your attention to this, and also to people in the community who submitted some really excellent questions. A few final notes tonight. This forum will be available for viewing on the League of Women Voters of Grosse Pointe YouTube page within a few days. Remember, the League of Women Voters has an online voter guide covering this race. It is vote411.org. I think you see it up here, and it's linked to our website, which is lwvgrossepointe.org. Absentee ballots are available to voters now. You may mail yours back. We recommend you do that if you have at least 2 weeks before the election, or you may use the drop box outside City Hall to return your ballot anytime up until Election Day. And finally, a reminder that Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you are in Precinct 1 in Harper Woods, please vote at Beacon Elementary School. If you live in Precinct 2, please vote at the Harper Woods City Hall. And if you live in Precinct 3, please vote here at Wayne County Community College District University Center. Remember that your vote is your voice. Please make a plan to vote. Please make it a priority. And thank you again to the candidates and to a gracious audience. You are all great. Have a good evening.